नैषा तर्केणामतिरापनेय प्रोक्तान्येनैव सुज्ञानाय प्रेष्ठ यां त्वमाप सत्यधृतिर्बतासि त्वादृङ्नो भूयान्नचिकेत प्रेष्ठ. Prashtha. So here, this wisdom that you have, O dearest one, which leads to sound knowledge when imparted only by someone else other than a logician, is not to be attained through argumentation. You are, O recipient of compassion, endowed with true resolution. May a questioner be like you, O Nachiketa. The kind of translation is a bit, but then it's mm, then it's compassionable one, kind of. I don't know what is compassionable one. I'll explain. Here, the god of death, and we will see in the next verse also that he's just not mere god of death. He's a teacher of the knowledge of Brahman. That's important to know, and we'll see why he became the god of death. Apart from being a teacher of the knowledge of it, here he says this wisdom. What wisdom? The wisdom that has been experienced by this teacher in accordance with the scriptures. And what are the scriptures? The scriptures are nothing but experiences. Uh, I think it was kind of dealt with this before. Uh, this philosophy, or this, it's not a philosophy. We don't call it a philosophy. Like, it's an experience. It's darshana is experience. Darshana is, of course, now an English word also. It has somehow crept inside. Uh, this Vedanta experience, it was, it is, and it will be an experience. And these books later on, supposedly, they are kind of expressing that experience through words, because that is beyond words, that the experience transcends your body and mind. Yes, our body experiences things, most of which is subconscious, that we hardly know. But if we can more or less know things, what's happening, the mind is an experiencer more than that. And then the intellect is an experiencer. And the sense of I, the individuality, is the experiencer. And along with that idea of experience, there is also the idea in the individuality that I am the doer. I do. That's why they say karta and bhokta. So, because the sense of, yeah, I have an individuality, and I'm doing all this. We are sitting here. So these experiences of the scriptures transcend these ordinary levels of experience. So these sages, or in this case here, the god of death, he going to transfer this kind of experience to Nachiketa. And how? The very greatest of teachers can, even by a touch or even by a mere look, transfer this experience. Or I would say, not really transfer, it will remove of these obstructions of covering. Today, in this reading, uh, Dinanatha reading, that you can say power of nature is evolving into us into higher and higher and higher species. It is helping us evolve. How we take off all these uh, bars and bolts that holds this power of nature. And how do we do it? By good works, good actions. They open and the illustration is given like a reservoir, like is there, and the channel cut here, and then you have of course blocked it with the sluice gates. You open that, and the water runs down by its own nature. So that power is pushing us to higher and higher and higher, and that is what these the principle, you can say, uh, goal of human life is freedom, moksha. Whether you want it or not, is nature is going to push you down there. But there are some who are in a kind of a hurry. Let's do it quickly. Well, let's do it quickly. Then how do we do it? This is how you do it. Through a teacher who has this kind of experience and who knows what are obstructing you. If you remember last night's reading, Swami Shivananda Mahapurush Maharaj, he is not well, but his attendant saw him meditating for a very long time, past his normal time. And then it was around 9 o'clock in the evening, and then he came out of his meditation. I hope you remember. Yeah, good. Try to try to retain it. And the attendant says, "Why do you have to meditate? You're not well." And because the doctor had seen it's got high blood pressure and all these things. So, and first thing the Swami says, has the bell for dinner gone? And yes, that's all that. He's saying, then the attendant asks why. He's saying, what can I do? See, I have initiated many people, and some of them they take the mantra, but they don't really repeat it, or they are obstructed. There's so much of trials and tribulations in life, they can't progress. So I do meditate for them. Yes. And one by one, their faces flash. And then while he's meditating, and he kind of he prays to Shram. The Guru's meditation and prayers and everything is not meant for it. He was meditating not for himself. He was meditating and doing everything for others. This is what we tend to think, oh, he's meditating. Why is he meditating? Not for himself, meditating for others. So here, this teacher, yeah, these are like the teachers of the highest class. They can kind of remove of all obstacles. So the first word is this wisdom. So this wisdom that has been kind of derived from the scriptures and which is experienced. Obviously, this is the teacher who has experienced. That's important. Otherwise, you'll get into a load of trouble. Then he says, "Oh dearest one, oh dear." That's bata. That's the word. Why? You see, what happens is if there is no love between the teacher and the student or the thought, it's very difficult for any kind of transfer of knowledge. Oh yes, there has to be love. And later on, he'll say, "Yeah, you are like a receptacle or a fit recipient of my compassion." That's what he's saying, that compassionable one. It actually means that. So, out of compassion, out of love, the teacher is teaching this. So, the moment you do it for fees or anything like that, you're off. You're gone. The moment the teacher starts making claims, think, oh, I've got this, it's over for you. You can't really teach. You will have to teach through love and compassion. And says, may our questioner be like you. May in the future, may we have such students like you. Imagine, and the god of death is mighty pleased with this kind of Nachiketas, his capabilities. Now we have here one thing that needs to be discussed. This knowledge, why isn't it awakening within us? Because it's called, there are this intellect of ours, the sense of I, and the sense of the doership, agency, or the individuality. The only thing that this person or this individuality knows is, this is my body. Yeah, these are my thoughts. I cannot dispute it. These are, I've studied so much, I've done this, I've done that, and this, I've acquired this. It's mine. That is the biggest stumbling block. This is the obstacle. So in Sanskrit, in general terms, it's called Deha Atma Buddhi. The body has become the reality for us. When it changes, that is when this it gets purified, or you have a teacher that kind of turns the whole your conception. Oh God, this was mine. This was never mine. These bodies and minds are coming by the laws of nature. They're coming and going. Why should I get this is mine? Like say, this is my chair and this is my sky and this is my trees. What? It's similar. Why should you think that this is your body? Yeah, this is my body. Oh, really? Nothing is yours actually. Yeah. So it is called Atma Buddhi, the intellect or your intelligence turns towards the Atman. Now, when it turns towards the Atman, what happens? There are two stages of this knowledge. One is first mediate, and one is immediate or indirect and direct knowledge. So, when your understanding turns towards the Atman, your understanding now first depends on your mind, of course, your intellect. So, this is mediate, it is mediated through the mind. Okay. Uh, your good works or your purity or the grace of the Guru has kind of turned it, but it's still mediate knowledge. It is in conformity with the scriptures and with traditions and with everything. But that's not the end. Knowledge, yeah. Then there's a next step which takes place when the mediation or the medium of the mind stops obstructing you. You get direct knowledge of the self, the Atman. That's the direct knowledge. Okay. So when the God of death is saying, this wisdom that you have, what wisdom did he have? He already has. He has immediate knowledge. And this is the step, of course, the next step is, and the rest of the Upanishad is teaching him through various kinds of arguments and means how you got to approach this, how you have to dissolve the mind, dissolve the sense of I am the doer, I am the experiencer. And generally, what do we experience? We experience nothing but pleasure and pain. Yeah. If you boil down all experiences, it's only pleasure and pain. And if you boil it down further, The pleasure is painful and the painful is pleasurable. So that's why they say, you give this up. You've been tossed about here and there like a football. Yeah, been kicked about, been thrown about. Yeah, you know what? How the football gets all the beating. So this is what this wisdom that you have, O dearest one. So which leads to sound knowledge. It will lead to the direct knowledge. That's when imparted only by someone other than a logician, by someone by a enlightened guru. This is what it is. Here it is. Now, does the enlightenment happen immediately with everyone? No. Some aspirants need to work out why this knowledge, because the body and the mind is not yet ready for this kind of experience. Like Sri Ramakrishna gives an example. When the when this heart center is open, it's like a kind of a rocket going out in your chest. Boom. A person who's not kind of even is unaware of this thing what's happening. It, and that's the reason why, like today's reading also in the morning, kind of these things are these powers in yoga can be had through birth, through previous births. You've done all these things and you've come to one place. Through drugs. Actually, the word uses medicine. It's not drugs, the word. It's medicine. Some kind of medicines that give you a kind of. But these are all kind of sudden. You're not acquainted with this. Your body and mind is not acclimatized to this. Suppose you tell me you run this 1 mile under 4 minutes. You see what happens to me? You got crazy. Why you want me to? Or if I run, I'll take about 10 minutes. 10 minutes. What's the hurry? Uh, But then if I keep on training and training and training and training, maybe in a year or 2 years, I could run it within 4 minutes. Oh, even break the world record. Who knows? Yeah. But then the moment I start giving excuses, oh, you see, the gazelles run, the deers run, and the cheetahs run. Why do you want me to run? Why it's and this and that? It's too hot. Oh, it's too cold. It's this and I don't have shoes. All these arguments, like specious arguments, kind of bad arguments, is what is being pointed out to this. Other than the logicians, these logicians, they rely only on their intellect. And I'll tell you, the whole philosophy of logic, called one separate philosophy in India, is called the Nyaya philosophy, and akin to these Vaisheshika, those who kind of discern what nature is made of. They've come down to the very smallest part called the atom. That's why they're called the atomist. Okay. So their combined strength is enough to kind of overwhelm you. Yeah. But their arguments are just arguments from the intellect. Another person with a superior intellect comes and he'll break the arguments, because they are building their arguments like it's like you're heaping up straw to build a haystack. You know, and how do you kind of build a haystack? Oh, you just throw throw around the hay, kind of the straw and over again, and then you go, wow, but it's a flimsy structure. So all argumentations, all the use of your intellect, bad use of your intellect, will not give you the experience of truth. Right? So should we take our intellect or the logic and throw it out? No. Yeah, it's like, first you don't need to do that. You use it. You got it. You use it.
Swamiji, in that case, when we die, there's no body, the body's gone,
Mm.
and then also mind, that the mind is also going to disappear.
No,
Is
the
that
mind does not disappear.
none?
The brain disappears. The brain
Brain
stays.
disappear. I mean, is that better and easier to get in a train and practice after we die? Because at least the one part is gone, body is gone. At least it means that we don't bother with the five senses.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
why?
yeah, yeah. I get your argument. What happens is that's the idea actually. In meditation, when you sit down to meditate, you
Yeah.
must forget that you are the body. When your meditation becomes deeper and deeper and deeper, you forget your body, you forget time, and you forget space. You are just you.
Then after that is better. Practice.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
after you die, you practice. That's a nice one. That's a nice one. But I'll tell you, I heard this kind of incident. There was a very great Swami, passed away many years ago in Belur Math. We cremate them mostly at night, when the temple is closed and all these things. But there are certain rituals, and all the monks and all the novices, they come and they kind of, you've seen some of this cremation. Oh God, it's such a wonderful sight, and everybody's kind of happy, and everybody is singing the devotional songs. The body is cremated, and after the cremation, uh, all most of us, they take a dip in the river and then come out, and so that's what actually happened. And then by the time it's over, it's around two-ish, 2 sometimes. uh, it's around 2 to 30, 3 o'clock, and by 3:30 it's time again to wake up for the morning vespers. So the whole night, but it's a kind of a very elevated feeling. So we those that Swami was kind of cremated on this particular ghat. Ghat is that landing, the steps that lead you down to the river. And on another ghat, another landing, one Swami was going around early in the morning to, like, bathe down, have a dip in the water, and then go to the temple. He goes down and he sees one Swami sitting and counting his beads. Right? So at the end, so he thought, Swamis, and what do Swamis do? He's saying, this is the first time I'm seeing somebody like this. So he goes close. You know what he sees? That guy, that Swami whom they had cremated in the night, he was there. So the Swami looks up. There's little more to be done. I'm finishing it now. So you got the answer. So it can be done, but then what happens, in the state of uh, see, when you're just going to die, just before you die, it the whole process takes sometimes 2 weeks. Slowly, the body is kind of shutting down. You don't feel like eating. You feel sleepy all the time. The life processes are kind of shutting down. And even if there's pain, they say that the brain releases these endorphins, these kind of pain dissolving hormones, and towards the end you're relatively kind of free from pain. And then what happens? You cross over. Now the moment you cross over, There are those experiences. I'm not talking about those experiences, but then there's a sense of great release. Okay, there's a kind of a experience of light, and
Well, we read about these near-death experiences.
yeah,
They
there are
all
plenty of
have that
documented.
experience,
Yeah,
don't they?
and well documented. So there are various stages there. But then what happens is this person is being impelled by two things, which the later this Upanishad will discuss. Yata karma, yata shrutam. What you have done and what you have known, these lead you. You take a kind of a rest and then you come back. And if you have already got almost enlightenment here, but a lot of things are under the person's control when that person has almost kind of attained that state, these higher states. So the person can do that. Otherwise, an ordinary person is not able to control the circumstances there. Goes through the various
What's
stages.
an example, Swamiji, of the more nearly enlightened beings? What sort of control can they take at that time?
What happens is just before kind of death, we'll. I think we have discussed it. Your whole life flashes there in front of you. Everything that you've done, one by one by one by everything comes in flashes. And the dominant theme of your life stands revealed. That leads you. Then what happens is next is when you've seen all these things, you review your whole life, all the mistakes that you've done or what you have done against somebody, you've got to forgive them.
The moment.
Yes. If you don't, you're going to get stuck up there. Yeah.
So it would mean maybe you should get a head start on that.
Oh, yes.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's not bad to review your life
Oh, yes. Yes.
as you're living.
Yeah. Yeah. So remembrance, the first day, remembrance, and then, you have kind of the stage of forgiveness.
Swamiji, I've come across people who not even necessarily on a spiritual path, but I've seen it's almost like a biological thing that as they get older, they become more forgiving and they become more gentle. Of course, some go the other way,
Yeah.
but I think even biologically, there's some
Yeah.
tendency if we allow.
No, then you know that you can't do anything about it. Better let's live in peace. Why hold on? You've held on to certain kind of illusions about things or people. You will kind of let go. You become forgiving. You become broad. That's there. That's kind of a good karma also kind of plays out. So let's get down to so this immediate knowledge that this Nachiketa already has. How does it can? So it is in Sanskrit. It's called buddhi vritti. It is the immediate knowledge of the Atman as expressed through the scriptures. So, what is the Atman? It's infinite, it's joy, it's consciousness, it's existence, this, that. So, the intellect has held on to these ideas. Okay. So, this is what. So, these are the dominant waves in that person's mind. Waves, what waves? The illustration given is a lake, like calm, placid. You throw a stone, and what happens? Kind of the water poof, splashes, and then there's a wave that rises, and it kind of like a circle. It goes all over the, you can say, pond or lake, hits the edge probably, and comes back. And suppose you don't just throw one, throw many, then what happens to that water? It's choppy, so you can't see the bottom. So when the waves have been more or less still, there's only one wave of the concept of the Atman running over the surface of the lake, there's not much disturbance there. You can handle it. So,
So after that, mind, so you're saying is that duality still exists after death as well because we still have mind,
yeah,
right?
you have
But
not only the mind, the subconscious mind, which is the storehouse of all your memories, all that you have done and thought and worked and everything. That it's called a sukshma sharira, subtle body. Inside this body, there is another body. Okay, what is made? Mind, intellect, your individuality, your memory. Then all your life forces, the five pranas, no, life forces, prana, vyana, vana. Then your sensory and motor organs, everything in a subtle form is there. And behind that subtle body is another body. Ah, that's called a causal body. When you cut this your nail off, what you how do you cut? Do you cut your finger? No. Hey,
so there's no difference death and life. Actually, still we're dreaming. That you were saying is still
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's
Hey, dreaming. Yeah, later on you find this whole world is a kind of a like dream like. You're seeing this world real, isn't it?
that are not easier in that place because at least we don't have five senses.
They you don't have ordinary person will not have any control over this kind. If the person has been meditating for years and years and years, you go out there, and then there's a perchance a chance that person will do some meditation.
Why is that? Why we don't have a control for?
Oh yes, nothing, because what happens is the first thing that happens is that sense of individuality that you've had based on your cultural identity, environment, education, your beliefs, your religion, all these things kind of drop off. You've been propped up, and suddenly when these props have gone up, what happened? Where's my kind of individuality? It temporarily, as it were, kind of sinks, becomes dormant, and those memories that you've had, all the memories, they become powerful and they push you. So suppose you yeah now suppose you kind of go into a place in the sense you just get out, and many people are covered with darkness. The one of the Upanishads talks about, Isha Upanishad talks about andam tamak pravishanti, they enter into blinding darkness. Okay, now in case now in case you have passed, we have gone there and we are all praying for you, we are in a way reaching out to you, and prayers do reach out to such souls. Yeah,
That's why the Kurut is important.
yeah. So anyway, we'll take this. Oh, you've got, we've not even finished part of this. No, it's okay. Uh, that's my job to clarify things. So you have to base your arguments not on flimsy grounds. You have to base your arguments on experience, spiritual experiences. Okay. Now, suppose I say, oh, uh, mango. Yeah. Sri Ramakrishna says there are some who have heard about milk. There are some who have seen milk. There are some who have heard, seen, and drunk milk and become fortified by it. So there are some who have just heard about, yeah, no, there's milk, all the kind of, I'm saying the mango, saying, yeah, yeah, you've seen mangoes and you're holding it. Have you really eaten it? So the proof of the pudding is in the eating, no, they say. So the moment you have not really experienced that pudding or that mango or the milk, you will keep on arguing. You will bring up various kind of streams of thought. So here the god of death says these people will not be able to teach you, will not be able to convey the real nature of reality to you. That's what. But suppose you have a person who's basing all the arguments, his or her arguments, on scriptural kind of background or the foundation of scriptures, then because that is valid. One of the disciplines in Vedanta is hear about it, think about it, think, think deeply. That is the remove of all your misconceptions about this thing, and you got to use your intellect. So in the technical language, it's kutarka and sutarka. Kutarka is bad logic, and sutarka is good logic. So you use good logic. So the good logic should be based on universal experiences. Oh, I have realized the truth only, like Swami Vivekananda says, no? I've seen angels flying about. Only I can see, not you. The moment that person says that, it's a, it's delusional. Experiences should be universal. Has to be universal. So it doesn't matter a few class of people or some few individual have attained that. So it doesn't matter. But then these are you. Everybody should be able to access those experiences. If I have it, you don't have it, and you will never have it, stay away from it. Or my religion can have it, your religion cannot have it, stay away from it. Because the very fact they're not universal. So here the appeal is towards universality. And everyone is eligible for this experience. So you cannot say, no, we are a special class, only we can get it, not you. No. Then what's the point in having scriptures and all these things? So then he's saying, so it's not to be attained through argumentation. You can't argue about a thing because there, as you said, that this experience transcends your ordinary experiences of the world, of the body, of the mind, of the senses. You are now here the translation, "O compassionable one." That is, you are a kind of your fit recipient of my compassion. A lot of that. That is the idea. That's the meaning actually of this word. That is so. Is the god of death only compassionate to one guy? No, no, compassionate. But you really can appreciate, and since you are already beloved by your intelligence, by your, you can say, discernment, by dismissing all the worldly kind of enjoyments that were presented to this person, this boy, he just dismissed it all. And then his memory was unfailing, and the god of death, he named those sacrifices even after him. And then he gave him an extra gift of a shining necklace and all these things. So the god of death was very pleased. Then he says, endowed with true resolution. You are, the word is satyariti. Like, I have resolved to finish this or accomplish this. I'm not going to be lazy about it. Sri Ramakrishna gives a exact again a kind of parable of two farmers. They are supposed to bring water to to their fields by cutting a channel from the river. One farmer kind of goes about it like a kind of a madman. He keeps on cutting. His wife comes and saying, "Come on, it's time to eat." Saying, "What do you mean time to eat? The children are starving and we'll starve. I have to get this water to the field today." And he cuts. Another farmer, his wife is saying, "It's time for you. Come on, let's go." "Oh, yeah, okay, fine." There. That grit, that willpower, that kind of stamina isn't there in that second. So here this person, he knows that I want this and I'm going to follow it through. Yes, I want to meditate. Oh, yeah. But when it comes, I'll do it tomorrow. And today it's okay. I you do it slowly, 5 minutes. No, I'll see the whole damn thing through. It's called a Satvita. I'm not going to, like they say, no halfway house. I'm going to go all out. So that's why I say, Satyajit, your true resolution. May a questioner be like you, Nachiketa. So in the future, may we have people, your students like you, who will ask such questions and who have that kind of capability to take up these ideas and run them through. Okay, so we can take another one. We still have a little time. The commentator kind of uh, there's another alternate reading for this Naisha Tarakena Matira Paneya. So he's saying this immediate knowledge that you have of this truth, okay, should not be disturbed or destroyed through bad logic.
Look at that.
Bad logic.
Bad.
Because what happens is you take up today one path of kind of spiritual practices, and then somebody says, "Hey, why don't you do this? See, it's good." And somebody else will come, "Yeah, that's that." You're kind of at times dismayed by all this. What was I doing all this? This is a better way. You go there. Again, Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of a person want to dig well. So he kept on digging, and when he found no water, he goes to another place because somebody says, why are you digging here? You won't hit water. You go to that place. He goes and digs there, and then he finds a note. He goes to. So the whole place was full of kind of those. He never gets one. But a person who sits and sticks to one particular place and digs and digs and digs, go deeper and deeper, he or she is going to hit water.
Maybe.
What do you mean, maybe? If you dig deep enough, you'll get water.
You get China.
Why not India? So the next, being pleased, he said again, the 10th verse. I'll read the Sanskrit and you can. Janamyaham shevadirithya netyam nahi dhruvai prapyate hi dhruvanta tato maya nachiketas chitogni anityai dravyai praptavanasmi netyam. So the question has come: if this person, like, if this person is a teacher of the knowledge of Brahman, how come he has become a god of death? How is it? So, so you can relinquish that and become a knower. Yeah, he's a knower. There is no, there is no kind of condition that men will have it and women want. In the old days, we had this idea. Oh no, not for them. By the time it was the Mahabharata, it was all open. Yeah, everybody coming. But in other places, like universal suffrage voting, in 1920s, women in America could vote. See? And these guys were voting for centuries. What you are doing? So what happens is, we are going towards more and more kind of universality. One in a democracy is a participant, can participate in the process in a democratic. So no, no, these people can, no, that people can. No, you shouldn't do that, because then it's not democracy. It's something else. So in the spiritual world, everyone can, of course, humans, even the gods. Yeah, because even the gods would like to, those lesser gods I'm talking about, not a not a big one. The lesser gods also need it, because they have attained some areas of celestial kind of statuses through their work, their good works. There's a nice kind of incident. There was a very great saint in the 13th century in India, and he was Gyaneshwar. Yeah. No, the whole family actually. His elder brother was a great knower of Brahman. He himself, his younger brother, and his sister, all of them. Never has been a kind of a family like that. So they were, due to some kind of rules, they were kind of ostracized by society. Get out, leave society, leave the village, and stay out. Can stay with us. So, and they underwent through endless troubles. So one of they said, you can't repeat the mantras of the Vedas. So why? The mantras of the Vedas are meant for everyone. So, huh? Not for everyone. Yes, every living being is eligible to repeat this. No, it's not possible. So there was a big kind of, you can say, bullock there. So one fellow said, will that oxen repeat those mantras, Vedic mantras? So this boy, Ganeshwar, he was young, I think 12. He goes and touches that big bullock, and all those Vedic mantras started appearing. And they were stunned. So you say, what can you do? Can you ostracize that bullock? And of course, later on, then he was recognized for his great spirituality and this, and then people were kind of apologetic. And it's not only human beings. Oh, these Vedic mantras went for this person. No, no, for everybody. So we have attained this stage of evolution through our own efforts. Obviously, yes. It's not we are born humans by God's grace. No, no, nothing. God doesn't bother about all these things. Uh, You've done all this effort. You have opened up those bars and bolts that bringing in the water, and that's how you've kind of made yourself into this. You want to become better? Yeah, open the bars and bolts now. Let more power flow through you, and you'll get it. So here he says, since I know that this treasure is impermanent, for that permanent entity cannot be attained through impermanent things. Therefore, knowingly did I pile up the Nachiketa fire with impermanent things and have thereby attained relative permanence. So, here, kind of a little strange. What is this? Since I know that this treasure, what treasure is it? This treasure called the fruits of work that this person had worked for, okay, through sacrifices. And here he says that he had performed the sacrifice which he had taught to this boy Nachiketa. And now it's named after him. Think I know that these rituals will lead me to one place which has impermanence. It will not give me kind of permanence. It will take for some time, for a eon, maybe kind of 2 or 3 eons, maybe who knows, some ages, 20 ages, 30 ages, whatever. So he knows that these rituals will lead me only up till year. Why? Because he knows that the permanent, the real treasure, the supreme self, the Atman, cannot be attained through these impermanent things. Rituals and prayers, and these are all kind of impermanent. You will have to, like, there's a kind of title of a book, or maybe I don't know, from the infinite to the infinite. From the finite to the infinite can never be there. Because all these things are relative. These are all factors, relative factors, will give you a kind of a next kind of the fruits, which are also subject to nature, other factors. So it's a, so something impermanent cannot give something permanent. It will give something impermanent, yeah, but it's a kind of a very elevated impermanence till this whole cycle of kind of creation kind of is dissolved. That permanence, sorry, that impermanence will last till then. How do you get that? You do the Nachiketa sacrifice 3 times, you will get that. But do you want that? No, because there was a kind of a question lurking in the mind of the boy Nachiketa. Well, if you know all this, how come you became a god of death? Yeah, there is no kind of condition. You can be a god. In one of the Upanishads, uh, called the Chandogya Upanishad, the one king, Janashruti, was kind of resting on the rooftop one hot summer evening, and then he was feeling pleased that in my kingdom I'm the most, you can say, generous king, and there's no one like me. And then he saw a few storks flying about, and they are discussing about someone else greater than this king. So they are saying, they fly. The one stork is telling us, "Hey, don't fly over this. The great light that's emanating from this king, you'll get scorched." So he's saying, "Oh, that's nothing. There's another guy up there." So he was kind of curious. In in my kingdom, there's someone greater than me. Who's that? And then he searches and this and that. And to cut the story short, is that he found a kind of a beggarly looking person pulling a cart. And he used to rest under that cart. And the king then approached him, "Oh, get out from here." So kings can do it, and some, no, no, no. Everybody can do it. So what body that you have does not determine your competence for knowledge. You can have any body. You can have any kind of thin, short, long, tall, everything. God body, anything, goddess body, whatever. So everyone is competent. So that's why this person had done these sacrifices, great sacrifices. He has got this kind of position now. He knows this body will last till this whole cycle kind of dissolves. But the body will go. But I am inside a knower of Brahman. That's the whole thing kind of. So we'll take this up a little next time and then we'll proceed. We will open it up for some questions.
So, Swamiji, we will gravitate nearly enlightened